The central premise we must accept is this: a woman's desire to give herself to you, meaning a profound openness to emotional, physical, and mental intimacy, is often masked by a strong societal and psychological pressure to not appear too eager or vulnerable. Her hidden signals are a self-test of your perception, your confidence, and most importantly, your ability to create a secure emotional container for her openness. She needs to know you can read the depth of her without forcing her to speak the words that make her feel exposed. When she gives herself to you, she is entrusting you with her vulnerability. The signs are her subtle way of checking if you are worthy of that trust. This sign transcends simple flirting and cuts straight to emotional intimacy. It's not about her sharing a sad story. It's about her giving you a raw, often contradictory piece of her internal world that has no logical reason to be shared in the current context. Specifically, if the context is still relatively new or professional, the manifestation of this is a sudden brief drop of a deeply personal belief, a fear, or an imperfection that she usually keeps hidden. For example, in a conversation about work, she might pause and say, "You know, the thing I fear most isn't failure. It's feeling invisible." Or, "I've always struggled with feeling like I don't belong, even in a room full of people." The psychological signal here is critical. This isn't fishing for sympathy. It's a profound test of safety. She is intentionally creating a brief moment of emotional nakedness and observing your reaction. If you respond with judgment, superficial advice, or worse, dismissiveness, the door slams shut. If you respond with calm, non-judgmental acknowledgement, "Thank you for sharing that with me. That takes a lot of courage to admit." You have passed the trust test. She is showing you the soft underbelly of her spirit, a space reserved only for a man she is considering a complete intimate surrender to. Attraction is often seen through physical cues, but deep desire is measured by the boundaries she lowers for you in her non-physical life. This sign is about her expanding your authorized zone of entry into her personal sphere. The manifestation is an almost imperceptible invitation into places and times that are usually reserved for her solitude, her closest circle, or her routine. This includes the time shift where she begins subtly inviting you to interact during her unfiltered times, a casual Tuesday morning call, or a late-night text when she's just relaxing at home. It also includes the location shift where she invites you to her true habitat, her apartment for a simple meal, a coffee shop she actually works at, or a favorite bookstore she goes to alone. Critically, the setup is low effort, high comfort. The place isn't dressed up, it's authentic. The psychological signal is clear. A woman who is merely interested in dating you will meet you in neutral public or high-effort spaces. A woman who is considering giving herself to you invites you into the architecture of her real, unguarded life. This is the difference between a date and a shared reality. By giving you access to her routine, she is visualizing you permanently inside her world. Eye contact is a well-known sign, but this is a specific, profound evolution of the gaze. It moves from mere attraction to an act of emotional anchoring. It begins with the classic prolonged eye contact, but then when you hold her gaze, she exhibits one of two behaviors that are almost impossible to fake: the slow blink, where her eyelids close and open in a slow, deliberate motion, a nonverbal affirmation of comfort, and a momentary conscious submission to the feeling of being seen by you. Or she exhibits visible pupil dilation, an involuntary neurological response to intense pleasure and interest. The eyes are not just looking at you, they are absorbing you. The psychological signal here is that the gaze is her testing the profound depth of the connection. The slow blink is her subconscious mind signaling, "I feel safe enough to lower my guard for this long." She is looking for an exchange of energy that goes deeper than words. If her gaze is soft, intense, and she doesn't break it out of awkwardness, she is magnetically drawn to your presence as a source of emotional fulfillment. This is the shift from her being a separate entity to her seeing you as an extension of her own well-being. It is the beginning of the maternal protective instinct that she reserves for those she deeply values and wants to integrate into her life. The manifestation is that she doesn't just ask about your day. She actively scans for stress, exhaustion, or discomfort, and immediately offers a tangible, often logistical solution. For example, you mention a stressful meeting, and she doesn't just say, "That sucks." She says, "You sound exhausted. I'm going to drop off your favorite coffee tomorrow before your 9 a.m. I don't need to see you. Just want to make sure you start strong, or your car needs to be picked up from the mechanic. Just give me the keys. I'll take care of it after my yoga class." The psychological signal is an instinct of caring for the whole man. She is showing you through action that your problems are now her problems, and your comfort is a priority. This is the behavior of a woman who is already unconsciously building a nest with you. She's trying to reduce your cognitive load and clear the path for your connection. Many relationships thrive on constant chatter, but deep intimacy is built in comfortable silence. This hidden sign is about her tolerance and enjoyment of shared nonverbal space with you. The manifestation is that the conversation naturally ends, but she makes no move to fill the void, nor does she reach for her phone or fidget. She remains fully present. You could be sitting next to each other in a car, reading in the same room, or simply finishing a meal, and there is a deep, resonant calm between you. Her body language remains open, and her energy level is placid, not anxious. The psychological signal is profound. In an anxious world, silence is a stressor. For a woman to be completely comfortable in silence with you, she must have reached an exceptional level of emotional security. It signals that her mind is not racing. Her guard is completely down, and she is fully accepting of the simple, unadorned fact of your presence. She is saying without words, "I don't need you to entertain me, perform for me, or prove yourself. Just being with you is enough." This acceptance is the bedrock of profound, lasting intimacy. This is a linguistic yet psychological signal that shows she has moved you from the present category into the future category of her life vision. It is less about making concrete plans and more about the casual integration of you into her long-term identity. The manifestation is that she begins to speak, using terms that subconsciously link you to her future self or her long-held goals, as if your involvement is already an inevitable conclusion. This includes the unconscious tense shift. Instead of saying, "I want to visit Italy someday. When we visit Italy, I'm going to make sure we see specific obscure thing," it also includes the hypothetical scenario. She'll pose a light, often playful, about an imagined future with you, like, "If we ever lived in a city with a real winter, would you be the kind of guy who builds a huge fire, or would you just hibernate?" The goal isn't to get an answer. The goal is to practice what it feels like to have you in that future with her. The psychological signal is a projection. She is trying on the future she desires, and you are wearing the central role. She is communicating that you are no longer a temporary character in her story, but a permanent co-author of her life narrative. This is the final, most profound step before she fully opens the door. She has already decided that you fit the path to mastery. Integrating the 6 hidden signs 30-minute segment, the 6 signs we have decoded, the unnecessary vulnerability loop access to her private world, the anchoring gaze, the protective empathy reflex, the silence acceptance threshold, and future-weaving language are not isolated incidents, but rather components of a single escalating test of trust. A woman's silent signals are fundamentally an invitation into the most sacred part of her psyche. She won't explicitly state her desire to fully give herself to you because, for her, the vulnerability required to utter those words can feel shatteringly exposed. Society, personal history, and innate feminine caution all dictate that she must observe your ability to perceive and respect her depth before she takes the final plunge. Your role is not one of a hunter, but of a safe haven. Your job is to demonstrate through your reaction to these subtle cues that you possess the calm, confident, non-judgmental acknowledgement that she desperately needs. When she offers you the unnecessary vulnerability loop, that small, deeply personal revelation dropped casually into an unrelated conversation, she is handing you a delicate piece of her hidden self. This is a moment of profound psychological risk for her. Your appropriate response is not to offer immediate solutions or platitudes which dismiss the depth of her sharing. Instead, hold the space. Offer silence, a deep nod, and perhaps a simple, non-judgmental phrase like, "I appreciate you sharing that with me." This proves you can see her without feeling the need to fix her, validating her inner world as valuable and safe in your presence. This quiet acceptance is the cornerstone of emotional intimacy. The next critical layer is granting you access to her private world. This isn't about physical space alone, it's about temporal and logistical space. When she invites you into her low-effort, high-comfort environment, her real kitchen, her chaotic schedule, her routine errands, she is allowing the mask to fall completely. She is testing if your attraction relies on her performance or her authenticity. Do you still find her desirable when she's in sweatpants, stressed, or simply being? Your response must be relaxed enjoyment of her unadorned presence. Treat her true habitat with respect, but not reverence. Be comfortable. Be yourself and participate in the mundane reality she has offered you. This sends a powerful signal. I love the show, but I'm here for the backstage reality. The anchoring gaze, particularly when accompanied by the slow, deliberate blink or pupil dilation, is pure biological communication of deep magnetic pull. This gaze is her way of grounding herself in your presence. She is emotionally sinking into you. When you catch this look, do not look away out of nervousness or immediately break the tension with a joke. Hold her gaze with a gentle, knowing smile that communicates confidence and mutual feeling. Hold it just long enough to acknowledge the depth, then break it softly. You are signaling that you recognize the intensity of her unspoken desire and are capable of handling it with stability and respect. The protective empathy reflex is a beautiful signal because it shows her instinctive impulse to care for you. When she actively tries to reduce your stress, bringing you coffee unasked, offering to handle a chore, she is operating from an intimate, codependent mindset, seeing your welfare as tied to her own. Do not dismiss this as mothering or refuse it defensively. Accept it graciously and sincerely. A simple "that means the world to me," "thank you" or "I really needed that" validates her protective impulse and reinforces her feeling of being a valued partner, not just a casual acquaintance. She is testing the waters of true partnership. The silence acceptance threshold is where deep comfort is forged. When a woman is relaxed enough to share comfortable, non-anxious silence with you, she has cleared the greatest psychological barrier. Silence is the absence of performance. It is pure mutual presence. When the conversation lulls, resist the urge to fill it with noise or reach for your device. Simply exist. Let your body language remain open and relaxed. The message you send is, "I find being near you inherently fulfilling, even without the need for words." This quiet acceptance validates her sense of security, confirming that she doesn't need to entertain you to keep you interested. Finally, the future weaving language trap, the casual integration of "we" into future goals or hypothetical scenarios, is the linguistic precursor to commitment. She is projecting you into her life story to test how it feels. When she says, "when we visit Italy," she is waiting for your subconscious affirmation. Your response should be an organic continuation of the fantasy like, "Oh, absolutely. And when we're there, I'll make sure we find that tiny little winery you read about." By engaging with her projection calmly and naturally, you confirm her vision, showing her that her subconscious hope aligns perfectly with your conscious intent. In summary, her desire to give herself to you is wrapped in layers of self-protection. Your mastery lies not in pursuing her aggressively, but in perceiving her accurately. You become the safe, confident man who can read her silent language, respect her emotional boundaries, and confirm her value without ever forcing her to say the words that might make her feel vulnerable. This non-judgmental perception is the ultimate key to unlocking the deepest, most authentic intimacy.